In this next section, we're going to talk about user experience versus user interface. Now, these are terms I'm sure you understand well, but let's jump into and talk about them at a different level and how they interact with each other. Now, user experience kind of brings three areas together: an understanding of user behavior, our business goals, and the technical functionality that we have available to us. We're going to use these three things, use the knowledge of those three areas to drive the user through our technology, whether it's a piece of software, whether it's our website. We obviously have a desired outcome in mind, and we are going to use our knowledge of these three areas to drive our user to that point. User interface refers to the design work done on the site. The look and feel. Obviously, it comes down to colors, image use, typography, and there is a lot of work done in this area. But it's interesting when we step in and look at the relationship between these two items and how important it is to prioritize one over the other. If I have a heavy focus on user experience at the cost of user interface, you're still going to end up with a site that is fairly usable. Because if you're keeping in mind your user expectations and presenting a site that works with those and drives users to the point of conversion or to the point that you want them to, I'm still going to have a website that accomplishes my mission. It might not look as pretty, but it's still going to get the job done. With a heavy focus on user interface at the cost of user experience, you will actually step away from user expectation, and you're going to end up with a site that might look fantastic, even win awards and be well reviewed among your peers, but it's not going to be as functional, and we are going to decrease our potential for conversion if the users are accessing our site and not having the opportunity or understanding to utilize it properly. Now, I mentioned how it is much easier to get negative points than positive. This also relates to the design of our site. You are going to be much more likely to lose someone with a really bad site than with an award-winning design. If we look at three main categories, our top-of-line design, where a designer poured their heart and their soul in it to make a beautiful representation of your site. We compare that to just an average design that is functional, but it doesn't stand out in any way, versus a bad design, something which uses colors poorly, something which has horrible typography and doesn't enhance the ability to actually read it. We're going to get a lot more negative points being in the bad design category than positive points if we are in the top of the line design. If we are in that middle of the road area, and as long as we are providing a good user experience, we're going to be avoiding those negative points. And we're not going to be investing as much money as we would for a top-of-the-line design, something that is not, in the end, going to maybe earn the interest and respect that maybe we were after with it. Now, what makes the difference between good design and bad design? Often that is in the eye of the beholder, but there are a couple main things that even as you're looking at your own website, you can quickly identify things that are going to allow this design to be better. The single biggest item that causes the perception of bad design or bad user interface is spacing. If I am visiting a site where all of my elements are crunched together, I might be thinking that I am providing the efficient representation of material because they don't have to move around the site a lot. But if there is more effort expelled in mentally breaking those sections apart as I digest it, then I am going to leave a very negative impression. So we want to be including whitespace in our site so that elements are standalone, they are easily identifiable and readable. And it's important to note that white space doesn't just mean it's white. This can be a background image, there can be background color, but it is just space that doesn't have any messaging in it that allows the different components of my website to stand alone and to be easily identified and digested. Now, in dealing with numerous clients throughout the years, I have come across the desire quite often for a website design that is out of the box, that thinks about things differently, that shows how unique and creative you are as a company. And that is great for your product. It is great to have that out-of-the-box thinking as it relates to your solution for the industry that you're approaching. But when it comes to a website, that's not always such a great idea.